Good afternoon. It is May 12th, 2026. You're listening to a little column A, little column B, hosted by Will Alimonos, co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How are you doing today, buddy?
What is going on, Will? The Oklahoma City Thunder, they are on an absolute tear. Only won by a little bit against the Lakers last night, but sweep basically destroyed them. LeBron's last game in LA, they're probably going to have to blow the team up. I'm feeling pretty good today. How about you?
I feel great. I think LeBron would look great in green.
You think maybe a Giannis trade going to the Bucks?
Oh no, I think he'd be perfect in Boston. I think he's the leader we need.
The leader that we need. So you want the oldest man in the world that plays basketball to take over one of Jalen or Jason's spots
for the right price. I mean, I'm assuming is he ever going to be a good deal? Like, do you think that's just off the table? He's always max money? Because I think if he's not getting max money,
he might maybe he'll take a less, but I don't think it's going to be a lot more than less.
I think that becomes appealing though. You don't think he was effective in the playoffs? You're like you've written him off. You think there's no value here at all? Like even if it was less than the max?
When you're saying less than the max, I am thinking $5 million less than the max, and I don't think that's worth it. I think if it was significantly less than the max, and then we can start talking. But he's only getting older, and he happened to be healthy at the right time to be able to play in the playoffs. But he's getting more and more injured, which is just what happens when you're in your 40s. He's already pushing this farther than anyone's ever done it before. So I just think that this is just going to continue, that he's going to play less and less. And it's the same sort of line of thinking of why I'm not interested in Giannis, why I'm not interested in Kawhi, of the guys that we have, they actually play. You have Tatum, who had a weird Achilles injury, came back quickly from it, as quick as you possibly can. But before that, he plays all the time. Brown plays all the time. Everybody gets dinged up here and there. But I don't see Giannis getting any healthier. I don't see Kawhi getting any healthier. I don't see LeBron getting any healthier. So I would rather stick with what we have.
Should we talk about the team still in the playoffs? Maybe like I don't know.
The Thunder?
Oh yeah, maybe the Thunder too. Yeah, we could do them. They're really good.
I opened with the Thunder.
Mitchell's good. I had to bully you with LeBron because his season's over.
Zero loss. But do you really? Do you think I was more being a little more facetious than anything else? Do you think that was his last game? His last game in LA? What do you think?
I think he has limited options for homes. I think he's reached a point where nobody's going to rearrange the table for him. He's just got to fit in and sit where he sits at this point, and I don't know if that works everywhere. I think there's a scenario where it could work in Boston that's simpler than it will other places. So it's more of a process of elimination. Cleveland comes up, and I just we'll talk about them later. They're very much in a 2-2 series right now. I have no idea why I would want or welcome a LeBron rumor at this point. Do you think that there's just unlimited options for him though? Because I'm saying I think he's going to get less because I don't think there's as many options, and a team's going to have to give him a good deal, and the Celtics like a good deal.
I don't think he's going to drop it down to be that good of a deal, but I also think he wants to be with a contender, so that obviously gets rid of some teams. But I think there's some other teams that are in premier situations that don't want this distraction. Here's a follow-up question that kind of goes along with this. Was this Bronny's last game in an LA uniform?
Yeah, I think so. I do think
he's going to play somewhere else, or do you think he is also done?
They're a package deal. It's a package deal.
Are you sure?
No, I'm not. But this is what I mean, where I don't know what sort of leverage he's going to have. I don't think another team's going to fall for that sort of leverage, but there are worse guys to add, I imagine. All right, would you rather have them or one of the Antetokounmpos? The Bronnies?
I don't think it matters. It doesn't impact your team.
It impacts the player.
If you're interested in one of these players and that's the way you get them, sure. But they're bench guys, and not even come off the bench guys. End of the bench guys that I guess there's an emotional, a teammate component to it. But for me, that doesn't move the needle at all because that's not going to impact winning.
All right, Zach doesn't like cheerleaders. We should talk a little bit about OKC.
Not getting paid, not under the salary cap. Easy to get regular cheerleaders that are not under the salary cap.
OKC is really good. Do we have a player controversy? Can I stir up a little drama? Who's the best player on this team?
You don't think it's Shai? You think it's Chet?
Oh, I wasn't even putting Chet on the list. I got a new guy. I think this little guard. He just reminds me of Brunson in the Dallas years. And if he gets his own run, I'm just curious. I'm just curious. And then there's also a scenario where maybe OKC sees that and it's learned from that. And it's like, we're not going to let what I assume to be a future Brunson player leave, and maybe we'll move
I
on.
mean, I think you're being really nice, but I'm not sure that Jared McCain is quite at that level yet.
Oh man, you're gonna just keep guessing names. No, it wasn't McCain. McCain's great too, though. OKC's awesome.
How did the Sixers trade him?
I have no idea. It sure looked like he'd be a helpful player.
I mean, he for sure had some injuries, but it seemed like the Sixers gave up on him way too quick.
We're gonna talk lottery later. This is hard. You never know what you're getting. To get something that you kind of know and you kind of feel familiar with, and be like, no, we don't want it, and we'd rather take another shot at this. That's that's just insane to me. And it went to OKC again, and OKC once again wins the deal. How many times are we going to say that?
I mean, so far, and this is fringe. I think that McCain really could have made a larger difference on the Sixers, and for OKC, it's just a very nice to have luxury. Some instant offense, just bring off the bench that just doesn't miss threes. It's gotta be awesome for them. And this whole time, they don't even have one of their best players.
OKC's really good.
They're doing all this without Jalen.
Do you think that says something about their future decisions?
I think it shows like they can be even better, as well as I think we've known this for a while. As Celtics fans know it better than most of. You get to a certain point, and then the money's too much. So the teams, I think it was maybe a slight generation ago, the idea was, hey, we want to get our core group of guys all on the same timeline, and that way they can grow together, and then they'll all hit their peak at the same time. Once they changed that with the first apron, second apron, making it really cost prohibitive, I really don't think it's that way. And OKC, I think, has gotten lucky to a point, but has also executed amazingly of getting guys at different points in it. So that way, when you get to a point and you get to where you have a guy that's, for them, expendable, but still a very good player, you're able to move him to get to somebody cheaper and like stay on this cost-saving draft picks coming in sort of wheel.
It's so much better on their value and just the culture they built there too, though. I think McCain. You think McCain, there's a chance he gets booed in Philly this year, or at least the Knicks fans don't cheer for him in Philly. Versus in OKC, this works well. He just fits. It's a little bit easier. You have leads. You're just better. Everything's better around you. It matters where you go. The culture and the destination matters. And these guys are gonna be able to rebuild and tool and go whatever direction they want because of all of that. I could do so many different directions. I don't. Are they locked for the finals at this point? Do you think OKC is?
No. Only because the Spurs had their number, which the Spurs are not all the way for sure. Got a little bit of a wild card in their franchise player as well. I'm sure we'll get to that. So I don't think it's a lock only because of how the Spurs played them in the regular season. I think that OKC will still be a heavy favorite. We for sure learned last year that what happens in the regular season doesn't necessarily translate. And the Spurs are definitely still very much on the younger side. OKC just did this last year. They know what they have to do, but I wouldn't say lock. I'd say heavy favorite.
I feel comfortable about them versus I feel like the Spurs, it's a best of 3 series now where they are tied 2-2 against Minnesota. I'd say the premier matchup of the playoffs so far. Some good matchups. We'll talk Wemby ejection, but this is anybody's game. I didn't feel like this was anyone's game at all when OKC was playing. It was OKC's game the entire time. I think this isn't a lock to be the Spurs here, and I just feel confident about OKC is really what I'm walking away from versus I think this is a toss-up here. Which way are you feeling, San Antonio or Minnesota?
I'm still leaning towards the Spurs. They have Wemby, barring, no more concussions, no more ejections. I was seeing today that the Timberwolves still have some injuries. Ant is definitely not 100%. He's fighting through. And I mean, we talked last week. I think maybe we knew at that point he was going to suit up for game 1, but it wasn't shortly before that. I feel like I was told he was weeks away, and now he's playing and impacting things. Again, not 100%, but he's still a star out there right now, which is very impressive.
The shot making for an injured guy not being 100% is one of a kind. Very fun to watch. The bounce, the lift. Not a lot of guys like that. Not a lot of guys like that left in the playoffs here. All right, we might as well talk about the Wemby ejection. I think it had to be done. I think it was the right call. I also think this is a sign for everyone else in the league here. He's just a message. I'm not going to be bullied. He's the bully. You don't bully him. He bullies you. And this should be a warning. I think it had to be done, and it was the right call, and I don't disagree with any part of anything here. Do you have any issue with this? Do you think he should be more composed or suspended?
I think this is a young, frustrated star move of you're for sure getting fouled. This is going to be his entire career. Is this guy's skinny? The only way we can beat him is if we can push him around. We're gonna have to push him around, and I don't think he is necessarily a dirty player, but he's so early on. But now you've got strike one, and so this could be how it starts. He doesn't have the same attitude, in the interviews as some of the other guys that fall into this. But if this is something that happens a second time, not even this playoffs, next year, even the year after. Now it becomes a pattern. Now there's more things you got to be concerned about. So I would have liked for him to be smarter about it. I think that he could have been and still got the message across. But as far as suspensions, fines, he got suspended, or excuse me, he got kicked out first half of the game. It's basically, you got suspended for a game. Team lost. Move on. If you're a Spurs fan, you're saying, I probably shouldn't even have been ejected. If you're a Wolves fan or you're not a fan of Wemby, you're going, oh well, hell, hold on. We've seen in the past, guy elbow to the head. He's got to be suspended and fined. He's not even fined. So it just has more to do with who you're a fan of than anything else.
I think Wemby's going to have to do this a couple times. I think doing it in a playoff game is certainly costly, but did you see the play? Like, if you want to rewind on the play, he's getting grabbed by two different guys. One of them's just grabbing the jersey.
You can't elbow somebody in the head. That's why you got ejected. You can't. That can't be the way you handle this.
Oof.
The real way that this gets handled, and I don't know who it is on the Spurs, but there's another guy on the Spurs that he's the guy. He's the guy that takes care of business. You can't have your franchise guy getting ejected. When was the last time we saw an ejection from the clearly best player on the team? Has LeBron ever been ejected?
No. Is that allowed?
Yeah. I mean, very few times I think he's even fouled out of a playoff game.
Did one of the Celtics get tossed this year? I feel like one of them did. Did we get tossed one game? Did Jalen get tossed?
Jalen got tossed in that big game against the Spurs, but nothing in the playoffs.
That was terrible. That was bad. Oof. All right. Well,
it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen very often.
I don't really have an issue with it. I think this is the pattern of things that need to happen. This is like him taking dominance over the league in some ways here. I don't think it's a problem. I think it's a reality.
I think he's got to get ready. I'm telling you, this is the way they're gonna deal with it. And the NBA again has decided ticky-tack fouls all through the regular season, and then all of a sudden the playoffs come around, and it's a much more physical game. And I have to imagine the players are frustrated. I mean, the players are frustrated with the referees all of the time. But it would be nice if it could be more standardized of why is the regular season and the playoffs refereed so differently.
It's very misleading. There are certain teams that are just not built for the playoffs. I think both these teams are built for the playoffs. I just like Minnesota more at this point. I think Ant is a little bit more consistent of that X factor. I mean, Wemby's just a walking X factor. We only got 3 games here. Like, you think Spurs for sure in 7, in 6? Like, I don't think either of these teams can win 2 in a row.
I think they could. I think Ant could be hurt in a moment's notice. No, I think the Spurs are going to win the next 2. I think they're going to get their act together. I think that steal something from you on Fox is questionable, but maybe Fox not playing might not be the worst thing in the world for them.
Didn't like the shot selection late by Fox. That's just got to be better. We're not the Kings anymore. We can do a lot more. There's a lot more around you. Just some better options, some bad decision making. We'll talk about some bad decision making. Cade, the turnovers, man. Oof. I think Minnesota can win this in 7.
That's kind of how the Pistons run. against Orlando at the beginning when they were down. It was Cade was putting up the counting stats, but it was bad efficiency and it was so many turnovers. And that's really when things started to turn around, was when he improved the efficiency and stopped turning the ball over. And it's so hard. I mean, he's a young guy, and you get officiated a little bit differently. You get guarded a little bit differently, and that's what leads to the turnovers. So I don't think this is a long term thing. But if they want to pull out their series, they gotta get their act together. He has to get his act together.
Yeah, Cleveland really just wins that third quarter. They go on that huge
Wins?
run.
That's a little. I mean, what was it? A 28-0 run? That's a little more than you won the third quarter. I think it was Donovan had as many points as the entire Pistons team.
All right, you want some numbers here? You want some free throw differences? Detroit only was 9 of 12 from the line. Donovan Mitchell himself was 13 of 15. Harden was 9 of 9. And I'm not saying this was bad officiating. I'm saying this is Detroit's lack of attack. You have to attack these guys. You're bailing them out. You didn't take nearly enough shots, and you gave up that huge run, and it's a fixable stuff. I still think Detroit should win this series and will win this series. I'm not trusting Cleveland. If you want to trust all those stats in this sort of game, by all means do that. I'll take the turnovers with Cade. I'd rather ride or die with that. I think it's easier to watch, easier to trust, and something I'd rather support than whatever Cleveland's doing out there. I mean, it's great when it's fun. Like it's great when it's working, but man, when it's not, this is like a Celtics frustration team of like, oh man, it's happening again. They just get so stuck, and I'm out on Cleveland. I don't think I could do it in 6, but I still think it'll be Detroit in 7. Who do you think's walking away with this one?
I'm still gonna stick with the Pistons. I know that they're on the younger side, but I just feel like I've seen too much from this Cavs team, that when they really need it, they can't get it, both as this team and just Harden in general. He's played well in these 2 wins, but I don't think anyone would be surprised if the Pistons win the next 2 or even 2 out of the next 3, and you look up and Harden has single digits and is, doesn't even shoot that much. He's 2 for 9. I was like, how did this happen? It's like, nope, happened again.
It's really just one quarter is what I'm saying. It shouldn't even be 2-2. I think they do give up some
But
stuff.
it's the playoffs. You can't give up a 28 to zip run.
It seems avoidable. Seems like something if you want to advance. Some of these other teams that have advanced, we'll get to after. But Detroit, man, 3-game series here. They were the top seed. They won 7 last game. Do you think the amount of games is going to add up? It was the same thing for Cleveland, right?
I think more of it is like Jalen Duren just doesn't look like the same guy he was in the regular season. So you obviously want to play less games, but I think these guys are young. It's all load managed throughout the whole year. So if they come in, if the Pistons win and they go against the Knicks, it's just a complete narrative direction. And we talk about this all the time, is if the Pistons come in and they win game 1 at home against the Knicks, it's all, look at them. They were ready to go, and the Knicks have the rust. And then if it goes the other way, it's they had to play 7 games, so they're tired, and the Knicks had all this rest. So I'm not going to chalk that up to too much.
It's still an overachievement year. I think Detroit's in a good spot here.
Yep, I would agree with that.
All right, teams that advanced. The Knicks, clean sweep.
Boy,
They look great.
Even close. Not even a little bit close. This series, I mean, OKC swept the Lakers. It almost felt like it happened too fast. Like I was doing the math on it, and just like, well, wait a minute. Last year we were a day off on the pod, but still, we could have talked about it yesterday. It was already done. It was less than a week from all right, ready to go, to Sixers being, our season's over, all the way over. I never remember a season just it seemed to end so quickly.
Philly has to answer some questions. We talked about kind of the Lakers' future here. What about Philly's future? Do we want to be invested in Embiid? Do we want to be invested in Paul George? I think we all like Maxey. We all like Edgecombe. I think we all like Nick Nurse. Something's got to change here, right? We can't just bring this all back.
Who are you going to trick to take to take Paul George's contract or to take Embiid's contract?
I don't know, maybe that Boston series could be sold as like last year's Eastern Conference Finals. Like someone will just forget, like just bad memory, and they'll think that really mattered and Philly went to the finals or something. I don't know how else could you sell it. I mean, it's round one. The games played in the
I mean,
playoffs and
just,
playoff wins with
let,
Philly and Boston players. It's not even close.
let me lay it out for you here. Is Embiid has 2 more years on this contract, 58, 62, and then that'll jump to 67 as a player option. Yeah, I'm thinking he's going to take that player option. And then Paul George has 1 more at 54, and that bumps up to 56 as a player option. And yeah, I think he's going to take that option. I don't know if they can attach enough picks to this to make this palatable for somebody else. I think if you're the Sixers, you look at Edgecombe, excellent pick. That's headed in the right direction. Maxey still doing his thing. And I think you just try to help around the edges and you just talk yourself into won the first round, as well as this team did not play together very much. There were injuries. There was Paul George getting suspended. And you talk yourself into, hey, if this team is healthy more reliably, there could be something there. That's what I think you have to talk yourself into.
I think that's a joke. I think the idea that this team playing better, having a higher ceiling is terrible. I think this was the high ceiling. They were healthy. This happened. I think this is the ideal year for Philly. Ultimately, was
But
being
they were healthier at spots, but Embiid didn't play the full either one of these series. So I don't think you can say they were healthy. Now, you could argue this is what Embiid is, and he's never going to be
I think this is
healthy
best case. Yeah,
for 2 weeks to stretch at a time. So I'm fine if you're going to say that. But I don't think you can say that they were healthy.
I think at this point, this is best case scenario for Embiid. Is we're going to hope that we get him majority of the series, but not all the series. I think that's expected. I think Paul George playing the way he played was also, he played every game. He wasn't great every game, but he was really good some games. I'm not going to just walk away from the last couple and just say that was it, because there were good games. Were there not? Don't make me sound crazy here, because there were good games that Paul George made shots. Did he not?
And it was a lot of up and down.
Man, Philly hater, you're still not even over it. They're gone, Zach. You know,
I think I heard something with the stats. It's like after game 1, or maybe it was like to end it out. It was he played well, and then in 7 quarters he had 7 points.
Yeah.
So it's like almost over 2 games, like 1 point per quarter at $50-something million. It just, eesh.
I still think this is the best case scenario, and that they'll never pull this off again. And if they do want to pull this off again, they're going to need a similar thing where these guys are going to have to miss time throughout the regular season to even have a chance in the playoffs. I don't think it's a healthier regular season. I think it's like this. I think they just have to play less games in the regular season and hope that Maxey and Edgecombe can just do it again and just carry the season. And they will crawl in as a lower seed and grind their way back, and hopefully they can upset the next sucker, which was us, unfortunately. But I think this isn't going to go anywhere, though. I think this was the best case scenario, and the idea of being married to this and running it all back is a bad idea. Like, I think this was proof that this didn't work. The proof of concept is not there. The proof is.
I don't think they have the options. I think that you're right, but I don't think they have any options.
Oof. Do the Lakers have any options in terms of teams that are now eliminated?
Blow it up. Blow it up. LeBron's gone. They can keep Ayton. Keep Ayton.
No way. He was unplayable. They got Redick on the sideline mouthing it.
They should keep Ayton in there for sure. I like the way he played over there. Probably should trade Luka. I mean, I don't even know hopefully he gets healthy again, but just might as well trade him sight unseen. They got him for free basically from Dallas. So just pass it along.
Would it be I mean, I'm telling the wrong biased person right here, but would it be shocking? Everyone's asking for JJ's Redick's job, and I think that's ridiculous. I think he's an excellent coach, and any team would be lucky to have him. What if Luka Doncic feels the same way, where he's kind of like, I don't want to be here anymore either. I feel like I'm Luka Doncic. What if he just asked for out? Who's to say that? What if he wants to be closer to whatever country he's from? Slovenia? I get that one right?
Yeah. I think the Lakers, I think they're going to be in a fine spot. You have Luka under contract for 3 more years. It's actually probably 2. He has a player option, but I think that one will get negotiated and he'll get a bump up. Because I'm assuming he's going to get back healthy. It's been kind of crazy. I get people complaining about tanking. I get the general complaint about players sitting out during the regular season for the load management. But some of the people that are coming out of the woodwork complaining about Luka not playing, it's like he has an injury. I I don't get it. Okay. All right, knee soreness here. Where this is like, no, he's got like a legitimate injury. He hasn't played in a long time. He would be love to be playing in the in the playoffs right now. This isn't a he's just kind of taking a Thursday off in January. But I'm looking at the Lakers roster right now, and they're kind of not even kind of they get a ton of cap room, and they're LA. So where other teams have to be concerned about, ooh, I don't know who wants to come here. They can open up the pocketbooks and they can pay for some guys. So I think this is a Luka tells them, I'm here. Let's build around me. These are the type of guys that I want. Here's who I want you to go after. And I think they go about it that way.
I think they're overestimating the free agency class of availability here. I don't think the team is out there. I also don't know what they're going to do with the guys they have. All right, so if they're going to do that, they're moving on from Reeves and LeBron. And I'm not saying they should keep them, but I don't know who you're safely replacing them with and feeling better about. You know what I mean? Like, I think they still need to replace that with a pretty good player, right? That can't just be who's ever left in free agency or even the top person in free agency who I don't have the list, but I don't think it's a high-quality player.
Not even the free agency, because there's not nearly as many free agents as as there used to be, because there's not as many teams that have the cap opening. But you could do sign and trades. They can still figure stuff out. This is where kind of points towards Giannis, but there could be some sort of star right now that we're not even thinking of that once the season sort of ends says, "Hey, I want out. I'm done. Trade me." And then all of a sudden the Lakers are there going, "Oh yeah, well, we don't really have that much, but yeah, we'll we'll sign Rui. How much do you want us to sign him for? And yeah, you can take him off our hands." I think things are going to work out just fine for the Lakers with Luka.
Did they just trade for AJ Mitchell? Did that just happen? Did the Lakers just get him? Somehow OKC is still going to win that deal. I don't like it. They have.
You think OKC's going to trade Mitchell to the Lakers?
No, but it just seems like the Lakers are going to end up with something like that. You said something out of nowhere that you didn't see coming. That feels like it, and ultimately a Lakers win.
I think it's going to be from. I want to put Sacramento. This nicely. One of the less smarter franchises. I don't think OKC will be letting the Lakers just get some of their premier talent.
All right. Well, I
did look it up on Kalshi, the prediction market, and right now LeBron's next team stays with LA or retires is at 49%. Cleveland's at 31%, and Golden State is at 12%. Those are the top three.
I mean, Kerr's coming back. Run it back. It means the Warriors are doing something. They're still alive.
Why is he coming back?
I have no idea. He's just going to quit during the season or get fired.
He seems like he's been miserable for like the past few years. And I don't know. Do you think this was Steph like personally reached out to him and said, "Hey, we've been doing this together for a long time. My end of the road is not that far away. Can you just stick around and we could just do this?"
Would he do it for any other reason? I think that's the only reason.
That's where I'm trying to find out from you, because I thought this was maybe not a slam dunk, but was much more the way the season ended, the way the past few seasons have ended. All of the player personnel stuff throughout the year, have to deal with Draymond Green every day. It just, what, guys, like I'm worn out. I'm done. I'm done. We had an amazing run, dynasty. Just I'm moving on. Have somebody else come in and deal with it.
They're not going to be good either way. But I also wonder if they handed candidates or like a bunch of resumes to Curry and he was like, "No, please, I'll make a call. Like, I'm not doing this. Not yet. We'll do it one more."
What do you mean he was handed resumes?
I assumed he was, a bunch of coaching options. They're getting rid of Kerr. They're getting a new coach. And he was like, "I don't want any of these. I'd rather just have what we got. I'll call Kerr and we'll."
Handed it to Curry, not to Kerr. Oh, okay. I got to look at
Curry. I imagine he had some say in the coach here. I also imagine he called Curry and was like, "Do it one more year." And he was like, "All right, I'm in."
I think he signed for 2 more years, but I get the general idea.
Zach, there was a lottery. All the tanking.
Sure was.
All the losing. All that we need to fix the NBA season. Results for this day, the NBA lottery, of which I think it delivered. it was kind of a doomsday scenario for, I think, a lot of teams here. Did this go perfectly or awful for you? What were your expectations?
Well, that's the thing. You can't really have expectations because this is math. It's a lottery. You don't really know what's going to happen. But Wizards lost the most. They were up at the top. It's definitely going to be interesting because they, I feel like, haven't had a plan for a long time. They've been horrible for a very long time. They haven't won 50 games, like easily, like in our lifetime of just how could you not even crack 50 wins? Make the trades this year. So coming in, they have Anthony Davis and Trae Young. All right, well, guys that are known to get hurt, but I'm going to call it, if you're comparing this to a contender, I don't know if that's really a strong start. But compared to previous Wizards teams, this is like a real start to something, as well as you're getting the number 1 pick coming in, so you get to pick from AJ, Darren Peterson, or Boozer. So now you got 3 absolutely real dudes. And then from there, you can make some moves, and I think they got some fringe guys. That it's one thing when you're on a tanking team that you go out there and you do whatever you want, jack up the shots, you're not getting taken out. And so now that maybe there's a little bit of pressure, things could change. But I think this is like for the first time in a long time that Wizards fans have to be having some excitement and think we might make the play-in game.
There's a lot to take in here. First of all, Cam, Boozer, a fine draft pick, but not in the number 1 conversation. It's 1-2. There's not a third.
You know, there was another draft where there was a Duke player at 3, and the one traded out, and that worked out just fine.
I think that could still be the scenario, but Washington is not taking Cameron Boozer at 1. It's going to be AJ or Darren Peterson. I am all in on Darren Peterson. I'm not super crazy about Debansa, so there's an interesting Utah connection here with Debansa and BYU, obviously, and then in Utah and all that kind of staying, let's say, within the family at 2 here is an interesting potential scenario of a trade bait here if they wanted to maybe agree with me and take Darren Peterson and offer to trade AJ Debansa for Utah to move up. I think that's a possibility of a scenario here. Now, the fear is, you mentioned the roster of Washington here and the culture that is Trae Young and Anthony Davis. And the question marks we have about Darren Peterson, boy, does that just not line up well, of a guy that you don't even know if he's going to play some games or not, and is going to go onto a roster with Trae Young and Anthony Davis. Are we allowed to do that? Like, I am starting to rethink this Darren Peterson to Washington here, even though I truly think he's the most NBA ready guy of this draft and has a really high ceiling. Where should everybody go here, Zach? Am I overthinking it all?
I don't think you're overthinking it because you don't think this is a very good draft. I'm hearing a lot of best draft in a while, and I could definitely get tricked by this because we talked about this during the college season. Of all of these guys at the top are all played college and all played on maybe not elite teams, but all played on good teams that made the tournament this year and were the best players pretty much on their teams. So I feel like in the past, I mean, it wasn't that long ago, we had the Risa Alex Sarr draft. It's like, I've never even heard of these guys. Like when it gets a little closer, obviously I'm plugged in, I'm listening to the podcast, but it's like, all right, yeah, no, this guy's playing, I think they're both playing in France. It's just like, all right, where this time, like I saw these top guys. I saw them play, many times. So, I mean, we'll see how that plays out. I think it might be a little overblown on AJ played at BYU and now the Jazz have the second pick. AJ's from Boston. He's not from BYU. There's been talk that BYU has a very large NIL fund, and this could have just purely been hey, we can pay you way more money than anybody else, and you come live in Utah for a year. So maybe he fell in love and he would like to be there, but he doesn't really get to make the decision. So this is going to be much more on the teams. One thing that is also going to be interesting that might affect this a little bit more is Cameron Boozer, his father. Not sure you've heard of him, Carlos Boozer. He directly works with the Utah Jazz. So I think that might have more of an impact than Utah having. Utah is where the college of BYU is from.
Well, this is the interesting thing with Darren Peterson is I mentioned it may not be the best vibe for him in Washington. Do you think he's a Danny Ainge guy?
What do you mean by a Danny Ainge guy?
Wow, I think Ainge, I'm not saying diamond in the rough sort of guy, but maybe doesn't always want the flashy guy. I think he'd rather somebody a little bit more rough around the edges in my drafting analysis of him. But that might just be
Maybe. I think there's been a lot of talk about when the draft happened or when the lottery happened and pictures of certain people and how they looked at certain times. And I think that we've seen this in the past before. You and I were talking during it. It just seems absolutely miserable to have to go to this lottery. Talk about, something that an obligation that you have to do. It's a Sunday in the springtime. It's the off season, either for the active NBA players or for you got the guys that are working out. The combine is this week, not like I guess this year maybe they're changing it where the guys are actually going to show up and play. Well, we'll see if that happens or not. But it just they're up there and then they're getting interviewed, but they're still like nothing. I don't feel like anything can go well for you, and it's just an obligation. And so I think we saw this last year where Ace Bailey was drafted by Utah, and it seemed like rumor is he's not even going to show up, and then he showed up and he played, and everything was fine. So I think it's even if you are upset, you still like this is where you're going, this is where you're playing, and there's free agency. So in 8 years, you can decide if you want to go somewhere else.
I think the rest of the draft gets interesting. Everyone wants to talk about the top. Cam Boozer, quality player. I don't think he'll go 1. I think 2
National Player of the Year.
2 is a possibility.
Not just quality.
You could talk me
Some of
into
these
it.
other guys are quality guys. Maybe Caleb Wilson is a quality guy.
I see.
Cameron Boozer, National Player of the Year.
I'm not in on any of these guys for NBA careers, but if I had to decide which guy I think is going to be in the league in 10 years for sure, Cam Boozer's the way safer bet. Caleb Wilson, I don't know. Have we not watched Evan Mobley struggle in the playoffs and you're telling me Caleb Wilson's going to be better than that? Like, Caleb Wilson's not a better shooter than that. I think there's this hope that Blake Griffin would be effective in today's game, but you got to be able to shoot. I don't think Caleb Wilson has the shot-making ability to be as effective as he is. And I think AJ has a similar weakness because once you start seeing NBA defenses and guys like Wemby, which just slow everybody down, there's just an effectiveness that I don't think they're going to be able to do that they did in college. I'm out on Caleb Wilson specifically. I feel bad for whatever team's going to ultimately end up with him because I think there's a really good 3, and then he's kind of been in that top quality B tier right now, and I'm out on it. I'd rather swing for any of the other guards after here, and one of them is going to pop for sure, than just go with, he's the only big guy here that dunks a whole lot. And why wasn't North Carolina good this year? I know he got injured, and North Carolina won more games without him.
I don't think that's accurate.
No, there were some wins, though.
Let's see. They lost their last 3 games, but he didn't play.
I think that was before that, though. I think he came back.
No, he didn't play the last 3 games. They lost all 3 of those games. So that was the last ACC game against Duke. They lost the first game of the tournament against Clemson, and then they lost the first round of the tournament when they blew that lead to VCU. And then he missed 6 games throughout the season.
Well, they got him. They got him lined up here to go to Chicago.
No, actually, no. I had that wrong. He only missed games at the end. I was counting the losses before. I got a little turned around. No. He played until the very end when he got hurt. So that's just unfortunate.
Maybe I just didn't like that North Carolina team, and I can't unsee that. It might not be anything to do with him. Maybe he was just on a bad roster because the highlights. Sure, I watched some games with that team, and they were not a very good team.
That I will agree with, but I don't think that just crosses him off as a prospect. Like you said, like this is going to be for how you play at the at the next level, and all the guys around him, I should say not the guys around him, the guys after him. You're starting to get more into the guards, and for sure, all guys that are smaller than him. So if you're looking for some size, that's going to be the guy. And I don't think he has the shot right now, but he's got the explosiveness. He can get to the hoop, and I think he has a competitiveness. The game that he played against when he played against Duke, like he wasn't afraid to go right at Boozer. That was a good matchup head to head.
You're gonna face a lot bigger guys than Boozer, man.
That's one very specific one that I picked out.
All right. You have an order of kind of the guys after that? Because I think that's
Not really.
everyone's more or less for
Not
here.
really. I mean, what's really changed since the college season has ended? I'm really interested to see how things go for the combine that's happening soon. Then I think some stuff could move around. But for right now, it's like nothing's changed in the past 6 weeks.
All right, last little NBA lottery talk here. Do we have any sympathy for the Indiana Pacers who have Zubac and do not have the 5th pick? And the Clippers have the pick now.
A little bit rough, but you make a 50-50 bet, and 50% of the time you win, 50% of the time you lose. Difficult for them, but they're also they're getting Halliburton back. And this was a team that made the finals with Halliburton and a very similar team. And so now they got and now they got center, which they were going to need anyway. So I think they can mope and complain, or they go, "Hey, we're gonna get Halliburton, and hopefully he comes back similar to Tatum, that at a similar level to what he was before, and get ready to go."
I kind of feel bad for Zoo because it was Zoo and potentially this pick, right? And everybody was, "Oh, that's awesome. This is a great deal. He's going to play well with Halliburton. I think we'll see a good pick and roll with him." And now that they've lost the pick, they're like, "We gave up that pick for Zoo, and the math just changes altogether, but the player is still the same player." Like, I don't know why are we going after this guy? I think that there's still a good hope for this. I think this is a good roster move, and yeah, you could have had the pick, and it would have been perfect then. If everything goes perfect, it's certainly an easier job, isn't it? I'm not out on Zoo. I think there's still hope for this Indiana team. Everything went wrong this year. I don't think everything can quite go as wrong next year, even with this. But goddamn Clippers,
Well,
man.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd go. I don't know if I'd go that far. You
Okay.
never know what can happen. Let's just be careful with throwing that out there.
Year from hell. I can't believe the Clippers had good luck of all the teams here. That's how it almost feels more justified of a lottery of like, yep, no, that happened. Don't you think they would have done everything in their power to not let the Clippers get this pick?
I think it's just math, and people don't understand math.
No, but they always want a conspiracy?
Oh, of course, yeah, because we're sports fans. We're irrational. That's the easiest thing to come up with.
I know. I had to ask you. You had to say nice things about Caleb Wilson. That's the most rational you've been on the podcast. It's a brave man. I'll remember that for later. All right, let's talk a little bit more about college basketball. We're on the topic here. Duke inking this Amazon deal, leading the way. Everybody needs money. The NIL is not going away, Zach. This makes sense to me that you would have a partner that actually makes money with you and can invest it with you and has a lot of money they can do every year because they're invested into it. Why isn't every other school doing this?
I have no idea. This seems like maybe not an easy opportunity, but you kind of think, oh, all right, well, this is college basketball, and so most of the games are on ESPN, and then some of the other ones are on other ones, and there's all these deals that happen. But now, as these deals are maybe ending, it makes total sense to say, hey, we bring in the fans. We don't need you, ESPN. We can partner with somebody else, and we are very confident that everyone's going to come to us. So, Amazon, do you think this is worth it for you? Amazon's been doing a lot of different sports. They've been doing football for a while now. This is the first college matchup. I'm kind of surprised that it was basketball that was first before football, and how Michigan, or maybe it's a little too far past, but Alabama, Ohio State didn't come in and say, "Hey, we would like to do this." There's less games, but this seems like a great partnership for both sides, where it's not just any 3 games. The 3 games this year are UConn, Michigan, and Gonzaga. So these, I think the Duke UNC games will have more viewers, but there'll definitely be some Kentucky games, and maybe some. I mean, maybe there's like a 1 versus 2 throughout, but these are going to be the top 10. Like, these will be top 10 viewed games, right there. And this is just the start. This is the start of a multi-year deal. So I think we're going to continue to see this and continue to see the fracturing of it. But as a fan of Duke, it's like, yeah, we want to keep getting these stacked teams. We want the best recruits. We want the best transfers. You need the money to pay these guys. And so here, this is the way to get it, rather than going to your donors, where donors, they only have so much money. You can only shake that tree so much. But you know what? The Amazon tree, that's a big tree. I think you could shake that for quite a while.
Well, what donor wants to match that? match what it takes right now. It's not just a donation for something new this year, and that you don't ever need to really reinvest again. It's every year this roster has to be reloaded. The inflation only goes up. You only get more competitive. It makes sense to have a partner with this. As a consumer, I'm already in on the Amazon. Or I got it with the basketball league pass is only on it. The football is only on it. I'm going to have it. So for me, this isn't a big change. But for anyone else who's been holding out and was like, well, I'm all in on college basketball because it's the only thing that's not specialized on all these other services. I think that's the only thing, is that this is getting commercialized a little bit into that degree. And I'm already there with the other leagues, and it's not great, but it's fine. We're going to make it. This is the direction it needs to go. Where else is your school going to get this money? I don't know what are the other schools doing? They really got donors like that? Why do these donors want to do that?
Well, I think some of it is, if you have very rich donors, you maybe don't have quite unlimited money, but you got enough where it's just more than anyone else, and these sports are important to you, and you feel you can make a difference. So you have Tyson Chicken for Arkansas, and they're pouring it in, and there are other kind of kind of premier donors that are probably shouldering a lot of the load. And yeah, I don't think that it's really all the way advertised exactly how each school is doing it, and we're so early on. So this doesn't mean that in 3 years, if this doesn't work out, that Duke doesn't say, "I know this didn't work out for us," and then someone else comes in and they partner with Amazon, or Amazon finds somebody else that's more popular. I think this is very early stages, and this is still going to change a lot.
There's still a little key permission that they had to gain. ESPN had to essentially sell the games back to Duke to then let Amazon buy them. The reason I think we didn't see this in SEC football first is for that. I don't know if ESPN was ready to release those games. I think they wanted to hold on to them. I wouldn't read into that too much. I think this is just ESPN wants to see how they can increase their bottom line as well. Nobody's watching anything on cable. If they were able to just take a big sum of cash and send this off, it's not the end of the world. They still got a lot of other games, and they're still ESPN at the end of the day. They're not going to just be forgotten. So I think there's still some steps that need to be taken. It would not shock me if there was just all SEC football on Amazon eventually. Is that not something you could see in the future? That would be
For sure.
That would be a Fox deal, I believe. You'd have to take some games from.
If they do how they're doing it with with the NBA, where you kind of have different days for different sorts of services, and that's not crazy unusual. Like I think it was like the early game for a long time was for SEC was on CBS, and so they'd have like the premier game. I think right now it's like the Big Ten has Big Noon Kickoff, which is on Fox, and just where it is, and I think there's still money to be made, and they're going to figure it out. That I'm confident of.
Lots of money to be made, and Amazon's going to keep spending. They're going to keep buying. I would not be shocked if we saw more games across other sports on there, and that ultimately kind of makes the Amazon thing a little bit more worth it. Like I need them to do these deals. So while I'm upset that yes, I got to go to another service, it's also like, well, I already got this damn service. Go ahead, put something else on it during this time of year. Like I'm at that point right now. We're fill the guide the whole year. Give me something.
What's interesting with Amazon, which is different from the other services, is I think the price point is within the ballpark of it, but with Prime, you get the free delivery for your packages, where other streaming services aren't doing that.
Walmart Plus comes with Paramount Plus or Peacock Premium if you wanted. It's obviously a direct competitor of it, right? It's basically you could pay for one of those subscriptions, or you could pay for Walmart Plus and get one of those subscriptions with Walmart Plus. It's exactly what they're trying to mimic, though.
That's kind of more of a partnership, where this is, you're within the same app.
It's true. No, it's true, and it works. I haven't had issues. You having issues
with Prime?
Yeah.
No issues.
I had to upgrade the everything, the hardware, software, all of it, but I got it.
I guess I would say the only issue that I have, and it's it's understandable and it's not really their fault. It's just it's a competitor. Is usually YouTube TV is my go-to. So yesterday I was watching the Cavs Pistons game and then just assumed that the next game would follow.
Yeah.
And it took me a little bit to then realize it's not following. And then I go out to go look. And it's like, where is this? And it offered me the Lakers Thunder game that was on ABC on Sunday or over the weekend. And then I look it up and I go, oh, this is on Amazon. So it's like, okay, I have to get out to go in. So, but that's par for the course now.
Do you think YouTube TV should tell you it's on Prime or it's on Peacock? Or do you, because I do the search and it's like they show me the score sometimes and it's just like, give me the right information. Like, we made it this far and you won't play it for me. What's going on? Just not available is not working for me.
I think it's too competitive right now, and that's understandable. You're paying for the service. If I'm going to watch something else, I'm not watching your service. I'm not watching your commercials. That's how you make money. But it almost seems like I feel like for a while, the ESPN app would tell you, where it was on ESPN, but if it were somewhere else, it just wouldn't tell you. Where I think they've gotten better about, hey, we're where people go to then find out where they have to go, and they just want the sports. And I think that in maybe the past 5-10 years, they've gotten a lot cooler about, hey, this is where it is. So maybe that's hopefully something we could do in the future, but I'm not holding my breath.
If I was like Google TV, which is YouTube TV owned, like the Chromecast equivalent or whatever, I would add it in there, and it would be like I could be all within the same thing, and it would redirect me. I mean, I'm using their hardware in that scenario. I don't understand why I wouldn't want to be. I would want to be the homepage, as you're saying, if I was YouTube TV. I want everyone to come to YouTube TV and then figure out where I need to be redirected if there's a redirection. And then I would push all the add-ons through YouTube TV as well. You want Paramount Plus, you can add it on through here. You want Peacock, you can add it on through here. I would.
I think you could do a lot of it, but I think there's still some competitors at that higher internet streaming level that they're not gonna play ball just quite yet.
Yeah. All right. Anything else for college basketball?
Long off season. We'll be talking more college guys when we get closer to the draft.
We're still talking Gino and Don Staley. We're still doing that. It's on the docket here. What happened?
Yeah, that just came out. Came out today. I think great move by them, both because it's South Carolina versus UConn, but definitely after the little I don't even know, it's not a snafu, it's not quite a fight, but a little hold me back situation at the in the Final Four. Yeah, they're going to play November 24th this year. So if you are a fan of either of those teams or a fan of drama or women's college basketball, once the season starts, you do not have to wait long for the rematch there.
I think I'll be watching. Even if I don't watch or even if I don't prioritize watching, you will hear something from this. You won't have to be far. You'll be within shouting distance of some sort of outcome of here. You think you'll be able to avoid it? You'll know.
Oh, easily.
We'll know.
Oh, you think so? You're not going to watch.
No, but I got a lot of screens. And now that I don't have as many things to watch, I'm already booking in the future is what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I got room for this.
It's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. So there's going to be a lot of men's college basketball. There won't be any football on that night, but surrounding it, you're going to forget about this. And especially too, it's the coaches. They've been coaching for a long time. This isn't the players going head to head, and there was an issue before. They're coaches. They're going to come in, and now it's November. These are both multi-time national champions. They're going to, be super nice, cool as a cucumber. There's going to be no extra drama here. Like the funniest thing they could do is if they took a picture together, like the way like fighters would take a picture together with like the the fists up. But I think that would be in poor taste for Ariama, even if it was a joke, because he's a man and he's going against a woman. It's not going to play well. Like I said, there's going to come out. They're going to be nice. There's going to be a basketball game that's played.
Why didn't they put this one on Amazon? Amazon didn't want that?
They didn't ink an exclusive deal.
How much do you think the WNBA season pass is on Amazon?
$30 for the year.
It's 40.
It's pretty close.
$40 for League Pass the whole year. Now, there's similar to the NBA. There's still lots of games on, I believe, NBC, ESPN, and other partners. I'm not sure if those are exactly them. It might still be Time Warner. I don't know. But $40, I thought that was a pretty good deal. I don't know what we're going to do. We're losing games. We're running out of games here, Zach. A little concerned for summer content.
We always figure it out.
Well, we'll remind everyone to subscribe.
No Olympics this year, but we got the World Cup. That'll probably have a ton of stuff for us.
Yeah, but you're even more bitter about that. That's especially after all the offseason of all the nonsense. I'm not ready for this. You're gonna try and care, and you're gonna wish it was Duke, and it's not. It's gonna be rough. I'm gonna have to buckle up. I might have to call in for backup here. We might need help in soccer, and that's gonna drive you crazy too.
You're not interested in my thoughts on the soccer match?
Do you have thoughts? Do you want thoughts?
Yeah. Can I give you a little preview right now if you want?
How the game? Go ahead. I already played the outro music, they stopped listening. This is fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is how it'll be. It'll be like June 14th is like one of the first games, and we'll have to talk a little bit about it. And it's like, oh yeah, I watched it, and oh look, that guy, he kicked it over there. Oh, now look. Oh, now he kicked it over there. Oh, and apparently that required a round of applause. All right. How long do these things last? Apparently 1 billion hours.
There's no stoppage. What are you talking about? It's just a moving clock. It's you know how many commercial breaks? There's none. Pure action.
Oh, yeah, running clock. Yeah, like a marathon is pure action because the people are moving the entire time. You sit there for 2 hours and maybe one guy kicks it into the goal. Awesome. Non-stop adrenaline rush there, boys.
Oh, you take it back. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be good. I'm ready for summer content. I'm really not, but we're gonna do it. We've been doing it for a while. We made it through every other summer. How could this one be any harder?
I got ideas.
I hope so. We're gonna need them. All right. Anything else for the people out there?
That's it for me today. Plenty of soccer talk. Way too much soccer talk. No soccer next week.
We'll be back.
Little column A, little column B.